welcome to Scream Queen, a podcast about scary movies.
From people not typically depicted in scary movies. Yes.
How you doing, Swami? How you
I'm,
living?
what is a day? I don't even. We're living in fucking Groundhog's Day right now.
I
That's what
don't
it
even
feels
know what's
like.
happening no more.
But I did start watching Umbrella Academy season 2. Um, here's the thing that made me love season 1. Mary J. Blige playing this assassin, kicking everybody's ass, lighting pink flamingo candles and blowing shit up.
Right.
And she is notably absent from season 2. So it just feels like margarita mix that doesn't have the tequila in it. It's just like, why is this here? I don't get it.
I finished season 2, and yeah, I didn't remember season 1 that well, but I was, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh wait, she got taken out season 1 or whatever. I'm like, fuck. So there was a lot to be enjoyed about season 2. Like I like the little kid character who's like a grown man. I really do like his character a lot. But it wasn't enough. Like she was clearly missing. Like they fucked up with that. They should have brought her back some kind of way.
Yeah, like, I did kind of like the little Ellen Page and her fucking that mom. Ellen Page fucking that mom. I was like, okay, I don't hate this, but fucking a mom.
She's a mom fucker.
She's a mom fucker. But and then there was that homegirl who got her powers back finally, the one who could rumor people.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool.
She never lost them. She just never used them.
Yeah. But like in the end of season 1, she had lost them because Ellen Page had slit her throat.
But I thought I think she said she was just afraid to use them because of what they resulted in.
Well, that's what it ended up being, because she realized that having lied to Ellen Page the whole time is what caused her to get her throat slit or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the very onset of her injury, she just didn't have a voice, so she couldn't use her power. But then as she healed, it got better. It was it reminded me of Purple Man and Jessica Jones, where it was like, how can you trust anybody actually feels anything genuine for you if you have control over their emotions? You know.
Mm-hmm.
What are you watching? What are you doing? What's going on?
Last night I woke up. I have this thing where I wake up at like 3:34 in the morning, and then I don't fall asleep until like 5:30. But I finally just sat there and watched the OG My Bloody Valentine, and that shit was funny. It was really good. It was funny, and there's no black people in it. Like it's very, very white. But the 80s group of kids finding their way out of a mine shaft as there's this like man on the loose, this old miner. I never bought that. I didn't think that was a good monster, so that's why I wasn't intrigued by it. But to watch it, it was really creepy. It was actually had elements of like Black Christmas in it, and I don't know, the music was good. The violence was dope, really hella violent and really horny. It's super duper horny to film.
Oh, okay. Well, violent and horny.
There's a couple of cuties in it. There's like a couple of 6-footers in it at least.
You know how to get me. I know somebody who's actually in the remake. He was just like a background character who got killed. Sent me his very uninspiring nudes one time. But anyway, that's all. That's all I know about My Bloody Valentine.
I said the hunt. The only other thing I have been watching is last night I got my life when I saw Monica and Brandy perform together.
I didn't see it yet. I was working on my stupid pilot, and my friend Dennis texted me I
watched the whole thing, and they were just tip for tat sharing each other's songs, and they kind of, and then they start doing runs with the songs and complimenting each other, and they even had a moment where Monica was like, well, this song came out around that time when I was that bitch that would kick doors down and slap bitches, and then Brandy chimed in like, yeah, I know, I was one of them bitches. And that shit, when she was like, I'm saved now, like get off my motherfucking case. It was lovely. It really, really brought me so much joy. I forgot how many damn Monica and Brandy songs I loved. How I grew up. That was like 5th grade was Moesha. It was Brandy, Monica. I listened to them obsessively.
Yeah.
And after this really trying ass weekend, first of all, started off so fucking horribly with that awful news about Chadwick Boseman.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that shit. I'm still crying about it. It still hurts my feelings so much. And
So
but I'm
young
inspired
too.
by it too. And then, the weekend ended on a really high note for me because I was really happy for my brother. My brother, shout out to him. Like he did one of his biggest projects. He's done so many great things, but he just directed the baby's performance at the VMAs. He was the creative director, and he made a really powerful political statement in that performance. And
I
I
feel like
was,
it was one of the only things in the show that actually spoke to the time that we're
yeah,
in. People were weirdly like in denial.
it was so dystopian. The whole
Yeah.
thing was, it was weird. It was just,
And I was like, so nobody's gonna say. I was like, oh, so because like Kiki started it off. She did a great job, I thought,
he did
but
a great job.
she started it off being like, in this time, Black Lives Matter, like da 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 da, and like I was expecting that to be echoed in other people, like accepting their awards and saying something about the times, and this nothing was being. I was just like, are we on some like denial shit right now?
And the nerve of them putting, our producer Alex brought up that they put Chloe and Halle at the pre-show, and their performance was fucking beautiful. It was so
Mm.
good. Like they should have been up in the main show too. Like there was some missteps. I mean, it's the fucking VMAs.
I'm sorry, and Rain on Me is not that song. It just
Mm-mm,
isn't. Not for me.
not for me.
And like first of all, Savage by Meg had such a cultural moment. I don't understand why that lost to Rain on Me, which was a thing for 2 minutes for the gays only. Like
Yeah, this song does nothing for me. I don't
no.
know what else to say. The performance was very like okay. I'm not even hating on Gaga. Like, a lot of people, some people are very perturbed by her. Some people love her. I think she's actually super talented. I'm not crazy about a lot of the music she does. Like, I think if she did like R&B and shit, like she would kill it. She would fucking kill it. But no, she does these weird, she tries to appease people, I feel like. And I don't feel like her personality is 100% genuine. She
Oh
wasn't.
no, she's definitely like a theater kid. But I don't mind inauthentic. Like I don't mind when people are play characters or or not quote unquote real. Like I don't care. Like everyone's doing their own thing. But like you said, it's just not particularly inspiring to me. Although I did find like she had during that performance, she had that mask with the robot voice thing on it. I thought that was pretty dope.
I think it's cute. I seen them. She has some great fashion moments. She has some really the silver look with the feathered thing. I just seen that somewhere. I forget who was wearing that. It's like Valentino or something. But she yeah. I was talking to my brother about this and people who perpetrate, and try to come up with this character. For some people, it works. For some people, it's necessary. For some people, take it or leave it, like you said. And with her, yeah, I've never gotten into this whole Gaga and her monsters thing. But I'm like,
Hmm.
but the bitch can sing and the bitch can play music. I recognize that, but I don't need all the other
I
shit.
know. I live in like constant fear of being canceled because I don't like Lady Gaga. I don't dislike her. It's just not my thing. Like it didn't hit me at the time when it was supposed to. But people really be hating on you if you don't like stand
I
for that
never
woman. And
worry
I'm just
about
like,
that bullshit. Nah,
mm,
I don't know
mm,
about that life. Most
mm.
people I know don't care for her. But
I guess it's just when I was on the internet more and like on Twitter and stuff like that, I just like see and also because I was on a show, I was on Food for Thought, which is all gays. And so we got a lot of gay opinions. And I remember one episode where I was like, yeah, but that's like some Lady Gaga shit. I don't like that shit. And so like, and all these gays came for me. And I was like,
yeah, I
that's
don't
your
know those
queen?
gays. The
If
gays I
that's
know,
your
they'd be
queen?
like, "What the fuck? That we don't fuck with her."
Yeah. And say, if that's your queen, then worship at that altar. That's just not mine. That's not my
No,
ministry. I don't care about
my
that.
gays love Mariah. They love us Mimi. And that I love me some Mariah. I love me some. Yeah, that's my scene. Art.
Mhm.
I stay that way. And I feel like Gaga's inspired by all that shit. Of course she is. How couldn't you be?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I heard somebody made some rude comment about her. She put on her COVID-15. I'm like, first of all, I was not looking at her body. Like, I mean, not in that way. And I wasn't looking at it negatively.
Oh, that's
It looked great.
shitty.
I thought she
Yeah.
looked fine. I mean, not even
Yeah.
fine. I thought she looked really good. I thought she looked super healthy. And this like the rudeness of even having to say that bullshit. But I didn't appreciate that.
Mm. Drea, what do we talk about today?
Today we're getting into Lovecraft Country. This last episode was so good. It was insanely good that we're just going to talk about that as our main discussion. And then for our Scream Queen of the Week, we're going to get into Miss Holly Berry in Gothica.
And these are both, some ghost stories. So tie-ins. I know
So
you were
let's get
thinking about
into
that.
it.
I know you were thinking about that, Dre. I know you were thinking
Oh,
about
yeah, yeah. Sure. In my head, bitch. In my head.
So yeah, this week, Lovecraft Country, it was, what was it? Holy Ghost, that was the name. This week, Letty buys a haunted house and we learn a lesson from a baby-headed man ghost on Unity. The pretext or whatever, or like the thing is, like, the first like frame we get what the plot of the episode, I was gonna say movie because it felt like very
It was
cinematic
like
to
a
me.
movie. Every episode's like a movie, yeah.
But it said, so we get the plot up front, which is in the summer of 1955, a group of Negro men and women moved into a house on the north side of Chicago. 10 days later, 3 people went missing inside the house, never to be seen again. And that scared me because I was like, I do not want to see any of these people die.
No.
But that's not really the way it goes down.
No. Yeah, we enter this 1955. That's also the year both my parents were born,
No.
and there's so much going on around that time. That's the same year that Emmett Till was killed. There's just a lot of, powerful and heartbreaking things that have gone down. But through this episode, we get to know the trials and the tribulations of what it is to move into a white neighborhood. They go as far as to move in on a Sunday when everybody's at church. I've also heard of, people moving in at nighttime, so people, so they don't see the shit you got and who you are, but they had to go against this neighborhood and who called them the undesirables.
Oh my God.
And it's they terrorize them.
I mean, that's the thing that was like, okay, yeah, yes, there's like, this is a haunted house story. This is a ghost story. And for me, it was like probably the most like a scary movie that we've gotten from the show probably this far. But it also grounded itself in real horror, the horror of being a pioneer, in a neighborhood, moving into an all-white neighborhood, the horror of like housing discrimination, the horror of like, how so many histories of surgery and gynecology, etc., exist because of doctors experimenting on Black bodies, and that's kind of like the ghost part of the ghost story. But it's like it echoes all of these real life horrors,
Yes. In the beginning of the episode, we also see we're back at George's house with Tick, his daughter, and Hippolyta, and they don't really explain what's going on. Things just don't seem, they seem a little too chill. Hippolyta's upset and she's tearing up a Dracula book that you can kind of draw to conclusion that belongs to George.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out that they told her the story that George was shot by a sheriff. And that's how they kind of cleared up his death.
But she knows that's not the full story.
When we'll get to that, because we're talking about a Black woman's instinct. You can from the moment she walks into the kitchen, the way she handles herself, carries herself, watches how Tick puts down a coffee cup mug, and she gets really disturbed by it because it reminded her of her husband, and just so many things are going on, and something just isn't quite right.
It's tense.
Yeah. And then you get back over to Journey, and she convinces her sister to buy this haunted house, or a house that looks haunted as fuck. And they again, it's like as if that whatever just happened in episode 2 never happened. It's like they're not even addressing it. And
like, Letty full on died,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, we get that scene of her in church. Everyone is kind of joyous and dancing, and she's just like bereft. Like she just looks like in grief, in mourning. And it's like, oh, it gave me, there's that one character in the House on Haunted Hill, or Haunting of Hill House, after she touches her dead sister and like the dead kind of washes into her. And you realize that she's just like, she's in this void, and like Letty's kind of in this void where she just wants to feel something.
Yeah. And then come back to she gets into it. She died the last episode. She was shot and killed. And then she came back to life. And I felt that moment when she came back to life and what that must feel like, because that's been that, I'm trying to think of what movies have used that kind of an outlet where they try to explain, like, I guess, what's that movie with Kiefer Sutherland back in the day, where the people that like to come back to life They're like they made a remake of it with
Oh, Flatliners.
Flatliners.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, in limbo. She's like in limbo right now. And she's been violated. And so when I start realizing, I'm like, oh, the only reason they're going about things in this show this way right now, and they haven't run out of this house like when the elevator almost cuts her head off, is because they're under some kind of spell still. That's
Mhm.
it's clear. They're still under some kind of fog. And I watched the episode twice. So the first time I watched it with my dad, and his first, and he said the same shit my mom said. He was like, well, these are black people, so if unless they under a spell, like this episode would be over already. Like, you just leave the fucking house. And I'm like, yeah, basically. And I'm like, that's the only reason they could be up in there. Also, me and my dad both covered each other's eyes when Tick and Journey got it on. Oh, that booty though. That ass though.
You know what I mean?
I got a little peek, but me and my dad were like, oh no, you can't watch that.
You didn't take a bite out of that, man. It was juicy.
Oh my
juicy.
God.
Juicy booty.
Asshole. And then he left her like that, his little weirdness. Get out of here with your little PTSD, bitch. That is rude as fuck.
Is it, was it saying that was Letty's first time?
I didn't pick up on that, but
Okay.
no, that ain't Letty's first time.
I don't know Letty like that.
I don't think that's Letty's first time. Just trying to, based on the strength that her character emotes, and I mean, in this episode, really, my mother and I, we both times I watched it, her scene at the end where she brings back all the slaves or the people that were murdered in that house.
Yeah.
And that what she evokes, that power in her voice, my God, it erupted something in me. It is, if she doesn't get nominated and win something for that, like, this is like the role of a lifetime for her. I can't say it enough. She is doing so beautiful. Like, it really, like, I'm about to get into tears right now just thinking about what she expressed in that moment and kicking that. You get out of my motherfucking house. You get out of my motherfucking house.
I like that we got a Letty episode so much. It also, like, because that other story was like kind of self-contained and this story was kind of self-contained, that's how I'm seeing the connection to A Book of Short Stories. But there is this C plot that's running through with Christina Braithwaite and Tick's lineage and what that will allow them to unlock. And I'm like tracking out, I'm seeing where that goes. But as a Letty-centric episode, and remembering that she just died and how she's trying to feel something. So like initially that's like with her sister, right? She's like, I bought this house and I want you living with me. And we're gonna really bond as like sisters, and that kind of doesn't work out because we learn that, first, we think anyway that it's because she got an inheritance from her mother and did not share it with her brother or sister. And so they're reasonably pissed, right? Mm-hmm. Later on, we learn that like it was maybe Christina that set up the payment for her, but we'll get into that later.
Put some glamour on her or something.
Yeah. So that's a part of it. Like, and then her thing with Tick too, like she just wants to feel something, but like that doesn't do it either. Mm-mm. And the beautiful moment that you're pointing out at the end, okay, and then like when she finally gets to express her anger, she grabs that bat and takes it to all those motherfucking cars. I felt catharsis, yes. But even then, it didn't fix the malady. It didn't fix the thing that.
And then that Sandra Bland moment where they put her in the back of that paddy wagon and roughed her up like that, like that. They changed things around for that to in the book. I've discovered I've decided I don't want to get ahead. Like, I want to see how things change, but I'm really impressed how they switch things around in this book. Like, it was written by a white man, but he was really thoughtful with how he wrote about people. And the way that Black people have taken this character, Misha Green has taken these characters, and she's gender swapped so many roles and characters and lines, but it all works out perfectly. Like that line at the beginning where right at the beginning opening scene where Tick is talking to that woman, and they have to walk together on the bus, back from the bus, and he's talking to her about the sci-fi book he's reading, and then but it's about a guy that supported the Confederacy. That line was actually a Montrose line. And Montrose is the one that actually pointed out he went out of his way to find an H.P. Lovecraft book and share it with Tick to show Tick, and he showed him that poem on the creation of niggers, and he was like, "This is who you support, just so you know." And but it's very interesting how they did all that. What other scenes really stuck out to me?
Do you think we're getting a Hippolyta episode, because she goes into that room and she
so dope. Oh, and Hippolyta, my mother said this. Okay, so here's a cool little connection. Hippolyta was in a movie called Men of Honor. Men of Honor is about the first Black master diver in the history of the Navy. My dad's the fourth, and that my dad was a consultant on that film.
Oh.
And we like went to like all the premieres and all that shit for that. But yeah, that's she plays Carl Bashir's my dad's mentor. She plays his wife in that film, so that was kind of an interesting connection.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like her so much. I like that actress a lot, and I like this character because, she's really ambitious. We already know that she's a really good writer, because she's been writing for this like Green Book like thing that George was working on, and also like she's an amateur astronomer, and so she walks into a room with this like sort of planetary contraption.
What happened there? I want to know about that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we get an episode with her when we can just like see her her go wild on something.
I want to see her and her daughter get an episode, because those two are both really incredible to me.
What did you make of the Ouija board scene? Speaking of her daughter,
I don't know who that was. Was that George? George is dead, so why would George be saying George is dead? But
I know.
But
it was curious to me, because I didn't really get it. All I really got was like, yes, there are spirits in this house, but I wasn't sure what it was doing.
I don't know, but I do feel that George is coming back. Like I'm gonna get him back.
Well, there was so much Courtney B. Vance promotion in the beginning. I was like, they can't take him out. Second episode, we don't see him ever again.
He's gonna play some kind of major role in this, and I mean, why can't they bring the brother back? Why? They better. It's fucking sci-fi. Just bring him back. It's not real. Just do it. Also, yeah, you brought it up, but the only ridiculous thing that I could not wrap my head around was that baby on that basketball player baby head. I'm like, what?
Because like there was some really scary shit, and there was some really gross shit, like that dude who got his head taken off by the elevator and it's just pumping out of the vein in his neck. But like that was a moment where I was like, I'm sorry, this is too ridiculous.
Okayed that? Who okayed that? Because that is ridiculous.
A little bit taking me out of the moment right now.
Big time. It was, I loved it because it's so fucking just ridiculous. I don't know what to say about that shit. I did like when they start to transform back into their former selves. I thought that was really cool.
Also, because like finally, Letty gets a moment where she gets to feel something and heal.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's ultimately like her arc over the episode, which is like searching around all of these extra like things outside of herself that she thinks will take care of her problem, of her existential grief of having died. Because bitch, I bet that shit is scary as fuck. Yeah. And so there's a trauma associated with that. And it was like by helping to heal these people in this house and to exorcise the demon of his last name was Epstein, Hiram Epstein, that initiated a healing process inside of herself too.
I completely agree. I absolutely do. The other opening, that one scene where right before all the shit starts going on, like they break their furnace and she wakes up in her room that morning. I really liked when that sheet's getting pulled off and then the woman's face and then her half of her mouth is like pulled.
Ooh, that was disgusting. But the thing is, like, I love that shit too. And like, it's not, I mean, it's kind of conventional in the sense that like, I mean, ghost stories, there are going to be a certain number of things that all of these kind of scary movies like have in common. And having the opportunity now to write my own horror thing, it's just been really fun to be able to play around with stuff like that, you know? And like the I'm just gonna bring it because the image that sticks out the most in my mind. So like as Letty and Tick and this woman who, you know, murders a goat on their front on the front porch, which like if I was a neighbor, I'd be a little bit concerned about that too. Not gonna lie.
No, I saw that and I was like, did that bitch do it on the front porch?
I know, just like right there for all them white neighbors to be like, no, I mean, now these people are doing animal sacrifices, so we definitely have to get them out of this neighborhood. Like, so she gives them like in order to get in order to exorcise these ghosts, they have to do a protection spell or whatever, which is like the goat blood, and she gives them a cross on each one of their foreheads so they can go in. So as they go into the basement, which had been Letty's dark room, and so she's been taking all these pictures and putting together all of this information that like who this ghost is, what he's been doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they go down to exorcise the demons or the ghosts or whatever, and then these 3 white men with bats come in, you know, looking to kill.
Wasn't looking to start a ruckus.
And we learned that like from the top of the episode that was like 3 people go missing. It's actually these 3 white men. So I was very relieved when it turned out to be 3 white men.
Once I figured that out, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
They've set it up in a way I was like, no, I don't want to see. No, I don't want that.
I don't want more Black Death. That's not what I want. But they gave us White Death, and that was fine. So.
And speaking of, what's her first name? What Braithwaite?
Christina. That was a very interesting scene.
That bitch. Like, you can't go shooting white women. Duh. I'm like, ooh.
Cause she buys this realty place or whatever, and Tit goes in there, and he's like, as he's talking to her, he starts to close the blinds, and I'm just like, Tit, don't fuck a white woman. Like, I was just like, don't. Like, I thought that that might be where it's going.
No,
I didn't know.
Earth would possess you just wanted to see that booty.
You know.
I knew he was going in there to hurt her. I knew it. No, we ain't fucking that.
So he come in, close all these blinds. They're having some blithe discussion about the nature of Letitia's inheritance. And then he's like, I want you to stay the fuck away from my family, aims a gun at her. And she's just like, listen, bitch, I have all these spells. Like most men, if they're lucky in this Adam cult, they can do maybe 1 and it's imperfect, but I've been doing my work and I have all these spells. So don't fuck with me. And then as she's doing this, he can't move. So he still has his like,
can't pull the trigger. Yeah.
He can't pull the trigger, but he still got the gun out. And then she starts to undo all of the blinds. And I was like, oh God.
And rub his arm and push his arm down. And that conniving little bitch. She's really good at her character.
She's really good. And also, them outfits are nice too.
Everybody
is so fucking stylish. It's like not even fair.
And Michael K. Williams, when he gets woken up drunk, when Tick throws the water in his face and he leaves the room, he looks like shit when he wakes up and he walks back in the room and he has his mustard shirt on. He looks so good. I was like, what the fuck? Up like that quick.
So where do you think we're going with Tick and his like birthright? Is he going to be making some spells? Is that where we're going? Because the thing is, the reason why Christina, if I'm getting this correctly, because I saw it twice too, and I kind of put it together more the second time around. The reason Christina facilitated Letty buying that house was because Hiram Epstein, who was the guy who was doing all of the experiments, was a disciple of one of the sons of Adam, who had stolen pages out of the Book of Names in order to try to recreate some of those spells. So I'm guessing that somewhere in that house are these stolen pages, and that's what Christina's looking for.
Okay. Yeah, by the end of it, I was trying to pick. I couldn't follow that last bit that she kept saying. I just couldn't follow it because I was just following other things. But yeah, I mean, just upon, if I could just guess where I think he's headed, like, who do I think is going to be the first to tap into something? I mean, it's either going to be him or it's going to be Journey's character. It's either going to be him or Letty. Mm-hmm. But then again, maybe Michael's already been onto something, because he came and went. He came and went. Went and came and went. Whatever.
Either way.
And I I just can't wrap my head around what that looks like, them getting their inheritance back. I guess they just rule everything. They just cash runs everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar bills.
But more money, more problems. So
But
I don't know.
I'm thinking they're saying like, if I ruled the world, I free all my souls, black diamonds and pearls.
If I ruled the world, we walk right into the sun hand in hand. We walk right into the sun. I am wondering about, because the teasers have been showing us a Ruby episode, which I'm really looking forward to. And the dynamic between Ruby and Letty is palpable. It's like uncomfortable. And they really want to love each other, but sometimes family shit. Sometimes
I know all about it.
Like
that
family
line
dynamics.
Says, I thought you was just fucked up. It turns out you're just a fuck up. Oh no, I thought you were just a fuck up. It turns out you're just fucked up. I was like, ooh.
Ruby came with the library with the glasses in the library card because she was getting ready to read.
It was a lot, and I felt it. It was, like you said, palpable. They're gonna get together. Ruby's gonna unlock something too. Ruby's about to have a really major moment. I can't wait for that.
Because they've been showing her on stage. She has aspirations of being a singer, and so we do get to see. I mean, we got a teaser of her like being actually on stage. So it's like one of those things, I bet, of like wish fulfillment and like what you have to give up and all that kind of stuff. But I'm really looking forward to that. And also, her voice is gorgeous, and I love that actress. So
she's fantastic. So,
yeah.
So hi. So yeah, next week we'll be following this shit up, and we have no idea what. I didn't watch the preview because I just don't want to. I didn't want to yet. Did you watch it? Okay.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I want to be surprised. I mean, this is the first time. Well, I mean, I'm not anti-spoiler I'm not the way that you are. Because if I start to open my mouth about something you haven't seen yet, no. But I feel that way about this show. And I haven't felt that way in a long. I didn't feel that way necessarily about Watchmen, about Outsider, about Insecure or I May Destroy You. I always watch the previews because it got me excited, got me salivating a little bit for the next episode. But I just want to walk, knowing that like a lot of these are probably going to be like Monster of the Week type episodes because it's based on a book of short stories. I don't want to know anything. I want to go into it completely without expectation.
Yeah, I agree. So we just want to give props one more time to Journey and to or Jonathan Major's booty, because that's beautiful.
I could,
that motherfucker apple.
I'm getting all these like plant stands, and you could definitely put a plant on that ass. You could stand a plant on that ass, like.
Ooh, Lord have mercy. It was like almost offensive how beautiful it was. I was like, that is a lot, sir. That is a lot, sir. We're 2 for 2
because episode 2 and episode 3 we get a little bit of butt. So if we could just have him turn around a little bit, maybe
and not be a snake next time, please. I don't.
Oh Lord,
that was horrible.
I don't need that in my life. I don't need that in my dreams. I don't need that in my spirit.
All right, though. But as our main discussion, we just want to say, yeah, get into Lovecraft Country. It's the shit. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to have an excuse to talk about this woman. She just means the whole world to so many Black girls around the world. Miss Halle Berry in Gothica. There are reasons why I avoided this movie. And I had heard things alluding to her not having such a great experience on the film. So I didn't know if that's something I wanted to dredge up. But you know what? I fucking had a great experience seeing this thing. And every time I watch it, I legit think this is a really well-made film. And I thought she was like an Alfred Hitchcockian kind of girl. Like, she is so classic in it. But it stars Halle Berry. She plays Dr. Miranda Gray, a psychiatrist in a women's mental hospital who wakes up one day to find herself on the other side of the bars, accused of having murdered her husband.
Charles S. Dutton.
Charles S. Dutton from Rock. If y'all remember motherfucking Rock. And if you remember, he was also in Nick of Time with Johnny Depp and Christopher Walken. He's really good in that. And also stars Penelope Cruz,
who I didn't know. I mean, I hadn't seen Gothica. And her opening in this movie was
She's so
really
good.
good. She
She's
sold the
good the
shit
whole
out of
film.
that.
She's
She
good
was
the
just
whole film.
perfect.
It is. She's creepy as fuck. I don't know why she didn't get more props for this character. She was fantastic. This is the big part of the reason I like her so much. I love her. Also stars, as we said, Charles S. Dutton, Robert Downey Jr., and John Carroll Lynch, who we just talked about in American Horror Story, 1984, and Zodiac, and yada yada.
And from being tall. And from being tall.
Just being a big ass motherfucker. I think, based on where this film goes, okay, I'm going to get into why I couldn't talk about this film. And I had heard a story about around the time that John Wick 3 came out. And I'd heard this before, way like years and years ago. And I wasn't sure about it. But it was Angelica Houston and Halle Berry were on James Corden promoting John Wick 3, and they did this game called Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, and they have a table full of just like the nastiest shit you could think of to eat or divulge some really like juicy details.
Oh,
like,
love it.
Bird saliva in like a martini glass with like beetles and like fucking cow tongues and turkey balls and bull penis. And Angelica Houston chose to eat the bull penis instead of talk about her and Jack Nicholson. And then Halle Berry was asked, who are the people you would never work with? She says, well, I have 2 people on that list. And she said, she wouldn't say who, but she says he's super duper famous and not that tall. And I was like, who's super duper famous? And I'm like, oh, Iron Man. And I'm like, all the Avengers films, and he's not that tall. Anyway, very little sleuthing, but I found the story. He broke her fucking arm and basically blamed her. And didn't even apologize for it, really. He did the stunt wrong, snapped her arm.
Oh my God.
He had to recover for weeks, and he never formally apologized. And the only things he said about it were like, I cleaned up my side of the yard. I don't know what happened over there. You know what
I hate most about the Avengers movies is this aggressive rebranding of Robert Downey Jr. because he's famously a piece of shit.
I mean, he's that dude that broke into like some family's house and woke up in some kid's bed all strung out or some shit. Listen, I don't want to judge the man based on, him being he had some horrible days, some bad issues with addiction. And I prayed for him back then. I did. I love me some Robert. I think it's a true story that his father gave him like acid when he was like 4 or 5 years old. Like that's a true story. Damn. And, he had a lot of odds set against him. That said, it doesn't excuse that behavior and the fact that he never made proper amends for it. And it's not like, how hard is that?
You could actually just do it right now in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
it was a really difficult period of my life, and like I didn't really know what was going on. I'm really sorry I did that to that woman. Instead of it just apologies are actually so easy to do, and they do so much work in terms of healing and setting things right. And it's just a matter of 3 or 4 words, to just set things on a good course. Right. I did not know about this movie. It was giving me, having seen Lovecraft Country a couple of times and then watching Gothica, I was getting a little bit of Lovecraft Country vibes. But why was the ghost beating the shit out of her? That's what I don't understand.
But she was like, dumb bitch, don't you know what your husband's up to?
Well, she could have just been like, hey, bitch, go to this basement. There's a girl down there. And instead of being like, flipping her around her cell, throwing her against the wall, throwing her against the thickest shit.
It's a mess.
Like slashing the shit out of her arm. I'm just like, bitch, you could give her some images. Like, why does this have to be? I don't get why this ghost is treating Halle Berry like shit. On the same side. Like
the only excuse for it, the reasoning behind it is so she invokes the rage that she felt and that the violence that was inflicted on her. She wants to make sure that Holly understands. They really went for it though. I really liked the first meeting of her and Holly on the road, and she goes to help her and she touches her face and those flames on her face. Like all those effects were so cool. They didn't go overboard with that shit. The use of, and then Penelope Cruz talks about it like, he makes me burn on the inside. Have you ever been like made to burn on the inside or whatever? It's just like, and then you see the tattoo on John Carroll Lynch's chest,
he always, like, I don't know if it's because he's John Carroll Lynch, but he just he's never not creepy to me. So even in the very beginning when he like threw her off and then like he was like interrogating her, or later when he comes back to the cell, I was always like, don't be in the same room with that man.
Mm-hmm. Thumbs off.
Yeah.
Thumbs off.
But we kind of get the idea that maybe, you know, Halle Berry has potentially unlocked some kind of like ability inside of herself to be a medium, because at first she thought it was like this one experience, but at the end she sees somebody else, like a missing boy. So like I was thinking, like, because you had mentioned in the doc like Gothica 2, like I thought that we were getting set up for potentially a sequel.
I think that was they totally wanted to go in that direction, but because of now confirmed, you know, situations, we know why we probably will never ever get one. And I mean, they could replace Robert. They could easily do that.
I mean, Halle Berry looks the exact motherfucking same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so just go ahead and do it. Like let me see. Oh, also I wanted to mention little things. The director Matthew Kasovitz, he directed La Haine. I don't know if anybody's ever seen who's somebody who watches this has seen La Haine, but it stars Vincent Cassel. It's about the ghettos in Paris, and it's a lot. And it's based on a line that's about like La Haine, like hatred creates hatred. And anyway, it's a really heavy, amazing film. You should watch it sometime.
okay.
Heavily recommend that.
How did you feel about later on when after Halle escapes his mental institution? First of all, I'm just like, watch where you're going. You already almost hit this girl in the middle of the street at the beginning of this film, and that's what's ticked off this whole thing. But she's all of a sudden the ghost has its foot on the gas. I don't know, don't got no brake in this car. Something's happening. She almost hits like a truck, and she's just, and then she's like, ah, and then turns back and like hits all this other shit. I was like, man, you need to get your license taken away, first of all. Second of all, then she gets back to the house and she's like reimagining or reenacting all of the night of that she murdered Charles S. Dutton, which she did, but it was because that ghost had got inside of her and hijacked her body. How did you feel about that axe scene?
Oh, it's dope. I always love that axe scene when you see his arm get chopped in half almost. It's really good. And you know, he creeped me out from day one, because watching it now, back then I was like, oh yeah, okay, he's her husband. Doesn't make any sense today. And I was like, oh wait, I forgot the second time I watched, or the second time, the time I watched it recently. I was like, wait, and when they started to kiss, I'm like, wait, that's her dad, right? I was like, oh no.
I was also not getting romantic vibes at all. I was like, she did this for a check. And he calls
himself God.
God.
You know, right when he did that, I'm like, and then
there's something off about this man. Yeah, I was like, this is some incel shit, because like there is no way. I'm sorry, I don't care how smart you are. You know what? Let me just not even go there. I'm not even gonna go there. We all know what I'm about to say. But as he was getting ready, I had the same vibe where I was like, wait a minute, I was not reading husband. No. I was reading authority figure.
Authority. He has her. She is a she's his trophy. She's a trophy wife. Like she is this symbol to distract the world from the monster that he is. Mm-hmm. And when John Carroll Lynch starts to talk about like, well, we were fine, you know, like he confesses that Holly's husband, he killed his first person when he was 15 years old. And he goes, and I helped him bury him, because that's what best friends do. And then you came into the picture. It's like, what the fuck?
Like, you know, when she was talking about like, this man is largely probably very unclear about his own sexuality, and I was like, man, you just wanted Charles S. Dutton dick, and that's why you're trying to take it out on Miss Halle Berry. But so it turns out that Charles S. Dutton and John Carroll Lynch have been killing women for a long time and filming it and drugging them, and it was just like
got a whole sex dungeon, and it's fucked up. Up. It's still fucked up to watch this film. I'm like, yeah. And I just really appreciate all the elements that they involved in this. It's supernatural. It's dealing with things that really are happening, you know, violence against women, and this kind of shit exists. And
Well,
it's
yeah, it
terrifying.
kind of reminded me of The Cell in the sense that it was like something like creepy, but also like rooted in some almost like what do you call it? True crime.
Yeah, it's super masochistic, and just really, it's a lot.
But I really like what you said about Halle Berry's character as like a kind of smokescreen for Charles S. Dutton. Like her in his life is like he could never be a bad man. Like he's a family man or he's like a husband. You know, she is the deflection.
Hmm. She's like this perfect thing, and everybody's like, oh, Doctor, Miranda Gray, and like what a great match,
But what is she getting out of this? That's what I'm wondering. Does he sling it? Like I've got to
I mean,
know.
he must be packing. Listen, I can't believe I just talked about Charles S. Dutton like that. He's like my uncle or some shit. Ugh. But I grew up watching him. He had like this really dope show back in the day on BET called Rock, and it was like one of those family shows you sat down to watch. And there
And
was
every
very
now
few
they
black
would do
shows
like
like
Rock
that.
Live. Yeah.
Hmm?
Every now and then they do like a live episode.
Yeah. Um, I I appreciate him, and so that's why I kind of get what they were going for with that choice of character. He is a very prominent and powerful man, and just his acting strength is very reminiscent of like he's somewhere between like a Paul Robeson and a Lawrence Fishburne, and I just really I thought it was pretty dope that he even played a character like this because it's just so far from anything he's ever done. He's usually plays more regal, in your face, but regal characters to some descent.
And like
Um,
very emotionally grounded, like um uh, uh, uh uh, like like virtuous figures.
yeah,
So I liked the villain turn here. Levels.
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 That's the phrase of the evening. It's levels,
There's
honey.
levels to this shit. It's
Levels.
levels to this shit.
um, let me see what else stuck out to me. I mean, beyond the tea that I reconfirmed, I ain't to discover that shit, but really, oh, I did want to say that a hot take, but I'm glad Iron Man died in Avengers, so kick my ass. And
You
that's what I
preyed
have
on
to
him.
say
You
about it.
preyed on him back in the day, and now he can eat your ass. Okay.
I'm saying
Well,
it. I said it.
Halle
I'll still watch
Berry.
Weird Science.
Yeah. I mean, I look up his
I'll
new
still
picture from
watch
time to
Pickup
time.
Artist.
I
I'll still
don't know.
watch give me one more Robert Downey Jr. film that I'll watch.
Was
I'll
he in
watch.
that? Was he in that movie with Janine Garofalo and the dude? And they, it's like, never mind. I can't even think of the name.
Were you gonna say Reality Bites or something?
That's what I was gonna say. And that's
No.
no, okay.
That's Ethan Hawke and some other people and Winona.
Winona. Anyway, Halle Berry giving us girl interrupted energy in Gothica.
Get off of me, bitch! I love her screams, by the way. Like, she is a fantastic scream queen.
She's also a good crier.
Yeah, I mean, well, make me feel good.
Oh, that was awkward. Oh, that was awkward as fuck. I'm not trying to see Billy Bob like that. I'm sorry.
That shit was hot. I don't give a fuck what you talking about.
I don't
That shit
like
was hot as
it.
fuck.
I didn't like it. I didn't like
Oh, I
it.
loved it.
I didn't like it.
Make me feel good.
Gross. let's move on, shall we?
Bitch, bye.
What up, Queens? Don't forget, we got a Google Voice number, and we want to hear from you. What's the scaredest you've ever been in a movie theater? What happened? What was the movie? Paint us a picture. We'd like to know. You can hit us up at 619-289-9052. Record us a little message. Say your name or don't. You can just tell us a story, and you could be featured on a future episode of Scream Queen.
Hi, I am calling to talk about Steven Spielberg's 1982 film E.T. which I don't think people really know or completely understand is actually a scary movie. I would argue one of the scariest movies ever made, and I knew this when I saw the movie for the first time in 1999 at a dollar movie night at my local theater. I was around 7, and my parents took me and my sister and my cousins to see this movie. And the second I saw the demon that is E.T., I was terrified. I was so scared. I wanted to leave the theater, could not leave the theater, and I did not talk to my parents the rest of the evening because I thought that their fault that they'd exposed me to this horrific film. Again, don't understand why people do not understand why this is a scary movie. And that night, I was so scared from the movie residually that I ended up having a night terror about it, in which E.T. murdered Elliot and everyone else in the movie at the very end. And somehow that nightmare has become my actual memory of the movie itself. Like, I cannot pinpoint exactly what it was that scared me about the movie itself, except for just, like, E.T.'s general aesthetic, and, like, vibe. But I had such a scary nightmare afterwards that has kind of transposed itself over my experience of the movie, and I have refused to rewatch it ever since, so I will not be proven wrong. And to me, that's how it ends. It ends with E.T. just doing a mass murder, and that's just something I've come to accept, and I will not hear otherwise. Yeah, so that's my story. Thanks so much. I love the show. Bye.
Hi, this is Willie, and the most scared I've been in a movie theater was in the summer of 2007. I was home from college, and a couple high school friends and I thought it would be a good idea to take some gravity bong hits and go see a little film called No Country for Old Men. I remember very little about that movie. I know I didn't understand it, and I know that we sat close to the front, and so everything was eerily foreshortened, like a sort of huge, skewed Anton Chigurh killing people with a pneumatic cattle thing. So that was probably the most frightened I've been on an existential and a sort of more kind of mundane, just sort of weed anxiety level. That was probably it.
Catch us next week, same time, same place. Not always sure what we're covering just yet, but we'll let you know on our social media, on our Instagram, what have you.
Scream Queen is produced by Alexandra De Palma and Domino Sound,
with theme music by Doc Allison.
I am Drea Washington, and you can find me on the gram at Hey Girl Hey. That's HeyGrlHey.
And I'm Tommy Teebs, Pico. Tommy, I miss second dick, Pico. Tommy, I still don't want anybody else in my bed, Pico, even though I miss people, Pico. You can find me on Instagram at HeyTeebs, HeyTeebs. I am never, ever going on Twitter ever again.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yes.
You can find us on Instagram at Scream Queen Podcast.
And online at screamqueenpodcast.com.
Send us some love notes at screamqueen@gmail.com. That's SCREEEMG or queen at gmail.com.
In the scary movie of your life,
you better scream.
Queen. Ew, no. She's coming for you.
Love you, Tommy. I love you, Tommy.
Leaving Zoom meeting. Here we go.